All right, mathletes, this is finding the equation of a line. So if we want to find the equation of a line, we're always going to need two pieces of information. We either need to know the gradient and at least one other point, or we need to know 2 points. So we're always going to need two pieces of information. Okay, so here in this example, this is kind of our favorite type because we're given the gradient, okay, and we're given the y-intercept. So remember, in our gradient intercept form, we have y equals mx plus b, where m is representing by the gradient, and our b is being represented as your y-intercept. So as I substitute those in, I get y equals 5x minus 3. And that is the equation of a line. Let's look at our other example here. So a line has a gradient of 2/3 and passes through the point 3, 1. Okay, so again, I'm going to start with my y equals mx plus b. So I always want to try and slowly get out the equation from the information I know. So the first thing I know is my gradient is 2/3. So from there, I know that my m is equal to 2/3, and I'm thus far. Okay, so I still need to figure out my b part. So how I'm going to do this is I have some other information here. I know that this point must satisfy this equation. Well, this point involves an x and a y. So by substituting them in to my equation, I can solve for my y-intercept. Okay, so my y is 1, okay, equals 2/3, and my x value was 3 plus b. So now I have an equation with one unknown, and I want to solve it here. So I get 1 equals 3 times 2 is 6 over 3 plus b. Okay, because that's like 3 over 1. Well, 6 over 3 reduces to 2 plus b. So subtract 2, subtract 2. So I get -1 is equal to b. Okay, now that I know my b value, I take that, what I had from before, and put them together, and I have my complete equation. I have y equals 2/3 x minus 1. All right, let's look at another example here. So in this example, we find the equation of a line illustrated by a graph. So we should be able to come up with this. Well, notice we have 1 point here. So sometimes if we have grid lines, we can find our rise over our run and find the gradient. But here we don't have those, so that's a bit difficult. But what we do have is where it crosses this y-intercept. So since this crosses a y-intercept there, we know that that's the point 0, -2. So as I'm going through my process, I have y equals mx plus b. I have 2 points, so I should make a sub-goal of solving for my m. So gradient equation using these 2 points, I'm going to do 2 minus -2 over 3 minus 0. Okay, so my rise is 4 and my run is 3. So now that I have my gradient, I have y equals 4/3 x plus b. Well, just like before, now I need to solve for my b. I have a point that satisfies this part, so I can plug that in. Okay, and I get y. So I have my y. So this is my x value. That's my y value. So I get 2 equals 4/3 times 3 plus b. So I get 2 equals 12 over 3 plus b. Okay, so I get 2 equals 12 divided by 3 is 4 plus b. Subtract 4, and I get negative 2 is equal to b. Well, that should also make sense. I could have gotten that information, noticing that my y-intercept here was negative 2. So putting that information together, I get y equals 4/3 x minus 2 as my equation of a line. Let's look at another example here. So here we're just given 2 points. So if I'm trying to find y equals mx plus b, first step, try and find my gradient. Gradient given 2 points, I use my equation. So I'm going to do 16 minus 1 over 3 minus negative 2. 16 minus 1 is 15, divided by 3 plus 2, which is 5. So I have 15 divided by 5, which ends up being 3. So I now have y equals 3x plus b. I need to figure out what my b value is, but I have a x and y value over here. It doesn't matter which point I picked. They both will give me the same b value. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just deal with ones with all positives. So I'm going to let 3bx, 16by, and plug them in. Okay, so I get 16 is equal to 3 times 3 is my x value plus b. I have one equation, one unknown. Should be able to solve this out. So I get 16 equals 9 plus b, subtract 9, and I get 7 is equal to b. Okay. So from that, I put in my 2 pieces of information together, and I get y equals 3x plus b. Well, what was my b? That was 7. What I like to do at this point is, since I use this point here to check, I'm going to go ahead and plug in this point into my equation and make sure it satisfies it. So if I plug in 3, my x being negative 2 plus 7, 3 times negative 2 is negative 6 plus 7. Okay, negative 6 plus 7 is negative 1, which is my y value. That's the same as this y, so it's checked. I know that this equation satisfies both points. Last example here. Okay, so find the equation of a line through 4, 3. So I'm going to use a graph here so I have a visual representation. So the point 4, 3 is 4 over 3 up, and that's that point. Okay, which is parallel to the line through negative 5, 1. So negative 5, 1 is here. Okay, and negative 2, 7. So negative 2, positive 7 is here. Okay, so I'm just going to rough draw this here. So I have a line kind of going off like this. So what I want to do is I want to find a line that goes through this point 4, 3 and is parallel to that other line. So what I'm going to do is I need to use that information. First, I want to find the gradient of this line. Okay, well, I'm given 2 points, here and here. So I'm going to find the gradient. So I do 1 minus 7 over 1 minus 7 over negative 5 minus negative 2. So I get negative 6 over negative 5. That's going to be plus 2. So I get minus 3. So I get a gradient of 2 over 1, or just 2. Okay, so I can see this goes up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. Okay, so because this gradient is 2, and I want it to be parallel to my red line, okay, find the equation of a line through this, which is parallel. So because it's parallel, I know that this red equation needs to be y equals 2x plus b, because it's the same gradient as the other point, or the other line segment. Because it's parallel, it's the same. Well, now I just need to solve for b. Well, just like before, how do I solve for b? I plug in a value that I know must be satisfying it and solve for b. So 4 is my x, 3 is my y. So I get 3 equals 2 times 4 plus b. 3 equals 2 times 4 is 8 plus b minus 8 minus 8. I get negative 5 is equal to b. Put these two together and I get y equals 2x minus 5 as my final equation. Well, I like to see if this makes sense. So if I drew this line and I go over 1 down 2, over 1 down 2, over 1 down 2 on there, over 1 down 2 there, notice my y-intercept would be negative 5 here, and I have this line that goes up like that forever and down like that forever. Okay, that concludes our notes for tonight. Thanks a lot for watching, and bring your questions to class tomorrow.